Broadcasting live from Sokenzan, Crucible of Defiance on the plain of Kamigawa. This is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Cameron and Nelson.
Hi there.
And today we are going to be talking about some Kamigawa Limited, playing Kamigawa on Arena. A way in which Arena has done a bad, which I'm unfamiliar with, but Nelson knows about, and a curiosity in the latest Arena update that is bugging some people. Not like the Arena app update, but the text update from the developers. So we'll get into that a little bit. But first, we're going to remind you all that if you eschew Arena and wish only for paper, or just want to play with some paper cards, you can get those at cardkingdom.com. Please check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. That helps them know that we've sent you over there, and we do that because they're great and they have good pricing and very excellent customer service and real fast shipping. And if you tell them Loading Ready Run sent me, button please, they'll give you a little 1-inch button which currently says, "Hi roll, I'm dad." So that's good. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. So I want to talk about this Arena update. They released their state of the game for Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. They've made a couple updates to how casting cards with an additional cost works. The explanation that they give is challenging, and they finish it with like, just trust us, it makes sense when you see it, and it does. I'm not going to try explaining it for exactly the same reason, but they've streamlined the process when you need to like pay X and also an additional cost for stuff like the new the marches, the sort of the new Kamigawa shoals, the like X spells that you can also exile cards from your hand. And they also mentioned like Torgar from Dominaria, for example, where it's like, you know, you can sacrifice a bunch of creatures and stuff. So they've done that. They've added all the fancy lands. The Ukiyo-e lands are like 5,000 gold or gems.
Aye.
Yeah, it's like $20, $25.
I mean,
So
they knew that they were going to get to twist the knife on that one, right?
Yeah.
I just got the John Avon Unhinged lands from that event, that Decathlon event, but these Ukiyo events are so nice.
I know. Real nice. But the bit I wanted to talk about here. Oh, right, and also sorry, ninjutsu. They, if you haven't had a chance to experience it on Arena, it's very cool. They stop at most stops. You can, if you want to get real fancy, you can put a stop on your own like end of combat if you want to, for whatever reason, ninjutsu your creature in like after damage, which you can do. On Arena. They assume you generally don't want to, so if you have to put a manual stop in for that, but it will stop, and then the ninja in your hand like lights up with little spinny shurikens on it and is like, pick me, flash me in, boss. So it's really obvious when you're able to do that, which is nice. But the part of this article that people are sort of like, I think, approaching with a accurate amount of kind of confusion and I can't think of the other word for it, but people think it's silly. It's the state of alchemy. So they're talking about alchemy because alchemy is tied to the set. So we've had the Alchemy Innistrad. Alchemy Kamigawa will release sometime in the second half of March. So it's going to have 30 new cards that will work in Alchemy and Historic. And they say they'll be revealing more about that expansion during weekly MTG on February 24th. And they are confirming that Historic is going to continue forward as an Arena format that will only have the digital only or balanced cards. They're not adding. They're not going to add a Historic queue that only uses cards that you would be able to play in paper. They're like, no, this is what we want. We want Historic to be a digital only thing. But they realize that people want, so this is them, acknowledging that people are like, wait, stop. We liked Historic. We didn't want this digital stuff. Please don't. And so they said, look, we know that people want a sort of true to tabletop, non-rotating format on Arena. They say exactly what this upcoming format will be is still under consideration because we want to make the best informed decision we can. That takes time. There are a lot of things we need to consider and solve before we have our answer, because a big part of supporting an internal format is setting it up for long-term success. Part of this does include incorporating player feedback alongside working with our organized play team. And you'll begin to see some early testing of what this format could be in a few of our upcoming midweek Magic events. In short, we're happy Alchemy has found its audience, but we also hear your desire for a true to tabletop rotating format. We're working on it, and we hope you'll be patient with us as we decide on what's next. So, good news, they've heard that feedback, and they are committing to providing something for that. Weird news is that exists. It's called Pioneer. Why is this confusing? Right? Recall, Pioneer Masters, or whatever it was called, was on the Magic Arena roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took it off to add the, they removed it to, like, work on it some more. And then they did the Amonkhet remastered thing. And then they added Jumpstart Historic Horizons and things like that. And they just haven't talked about it. And as many people have pointed out on Twitter, being sort of baffled by this statement, is like, there's only 100 cards, I think, or 100 cards that matter that are relevant in Pioneer that aren't on Arena. And anyway, the point is, there's a lot of the Arena team here is saying, like, well, we just got to figure out what this is, and we got to do some testing or whatever. And it's like, you have it, you already have Pioneer. Why not do that?
Yeah, give us 2021 and 2020 cards, and most formats are only 100 cards away. I mean, it's 100 more cards for Pioneer. It's probably only 150 more cards for Legacy and 200 more cards for Vintage.
Yeah.
But they told us that they would give us Pioneer. Like, I remember. Yes. I was there 3,000 years ago. And they haven't come out and said they're definitely not doing that, right? And yet they told us, we know people want a true to paper format. As if they haven't already decided what it's going to be.
Yeah, Pioneer Masters was going to be combining cards from all the sets that are currently legal in Pioneer, putting them together. You were going to be able to draft it, which sounds pretty sweet. And it was originally planned for release at the end of 2020, then pushed back to 2021 for playtesting, and then in July 2021, they put it on hold because it was stated that Wizards of the Coast schedule didn't have room to focus on growing a unique identity for the historic format while fully supporting Pioneer at the same time. So now that they've said that they have historic being what they want historic to be, and want to investigate what a non-rotating tabletop, like true to tabletop format could be, you have that already. I don't know. It's very strange.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's what everyone's saying. Like, all the, like, the thing is, all the sort of the hot takes from the Twitter discourse engine that I've seen are not, like, mad or angry or insulting. They're just sort of like, are you okay, Wizards? Do you
right.
you have this? You told us you were gonna do this, and then you put it on hold. And why? What? Just do Pioneer. Because it's a real format that exists in paper, and that they supposedly support, and that I guess people would be playing if there were Magic fests.
You know what it reminds me of? Announcing that you were going to have a combined draft format that was going to be curated new sort of Masters-like experience between the two sets that happen on the same plane back to back, and then releasing every single card in grayscale. Here you go. We curated it. We took a hard look and decided nothing needed to be cut, not even the second copy of Bramble Armor.
Did you play any double feature?
I played once. It was okay.
Yeah.
I liked getting to see some of the cool interactions between the the Midnight Hunt cards and the Crimson Vow cards, and I looked at some people's deck lists and read some tweets about people who actually really like the format, and that was fine. I around the same time I took one more tilt at Crimson Vow, and I haven't gotten up to 10 drafts on Crimson Vow, which is super low for me. And for whatever reason, just that set didn't grab me. I like the cards for Constructed.
Double feature was wild because, of course, on Arena the cards don't look any different. So it's basically just like this weird mashup thing that has it's just higher power because every pack has 2 rares. So there's just a lot going on. It's very easy to get absolutely destroyed. Or occasionally, if you're lucky, you can do the destroying, but that doesn't come up a lot.
But yeah, it's closer to being a master set just because there's more rares, right?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't really have much else to add to the Pioneer discourse. I'm not a Constructed player, so I wouldn't play it. But people want it, and I think that Arena should give people Pioneer. And I think that this statement of like, we just got to figure out what it's going to be, sounds very weird when everyone seems to know exactly what it should be, except Wizards. Obviously Wizards knows all about Pioneer. They just chose to say this instead. So,
do you want to conjecture, Cam?
Oh, I've been trying to think of like what could possibly be going on where they don't want Pioneer on Arena.
Yeah, I have 2 potential options. One is the same one I put forward when it was like, why haven't they curated the set they said they would curate? And it's just like lack of communication, internal lack of communication. Wizards is made up of humans, and we make mistakes, and the company keeps getting bigger. So it's got to have some challenges there. So that's possibly the case. If not that, then maybe there's an internal pressure to get ready to drop Pioneer. Sort of like Extended was dropped in favor of a new non-rotating format, in this that has fewer sets. Like if you look at the history of people doing things with their standard cards after rotations, like we've had, Extended, and we still have Legacy kind of, although Legacy in the past couple of years has been really like neglected, like that just hasn't had as many BNR changes as the community, at least the loud community on Twitter, has clearly wanted. And then like we don't talk about Extended anymore. Extended doesn't exist. And then Modern and Pioneer kind of occupy the same space. So maybe there was a meeting where it's like, okay, this is how long it's going to take to actually get to Pioneer, since we're pushing it forward to focus on Jumpstart, Historic Horizons, to focus on Alchemy. At the time they knew what those were called. So there could have been a meeting a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever. And then once they figure out, okay, so Pioneer Masters can't come out until at least 2023. And then at that point, they're like, so wait, how wide will Pioneer be? How many sets back will Pioneer be? Oh, that's actually outside of our threshold of like what we have the bandwidth for to kind of safely play test. Like maybe they know that like 10 years of Magic sets, or it's got to be shorter now. Maybe it's total number of cards because they release more cards per year now. Some total number of cards once it's outside of standard. It's like, well, there's going to be a broken combo or 6. So it's going to have a really rough start if we release Pioneer and people start playing the heck out of Pioneer when we release it then. So maybe, and this is just tinfoil hat time, this is just conjecture, maybe there's a new non-rotating format coming that they intentionally want to have be smaller, and it'd be less work on the Arena team if it was just like starts with Ixalan, or it could start with Amonkhet because the cards are already there.
Because like more than half, so Pioneer legality starts at Return to Ravnica, and goes up to obviously the present, because the whole point is that it doesn't rotate. So currently on Arena is Kaladesh forward, which is more than half of it. So Return to Ravnica block, Original Theros block, Khans block, Battle for Zendikar, and then and Oath of the Gatewatch, and then Shadows over Innistrad and Eldritch Moon. And the core sets 2014, 2015, and Origins. That's what's currently not on Arena that is technically in Pioneer. But as many people have said, it's like, of all of that, there's like maybe like 100 cards that actually see play in Pioneer. So it seems like just do yourself a Pioneer Remastered or Pioneer Masters like you're originally planning, and then there's a way to get everything on.
And they could do it quick too, if instead of having like a master set that's draftable, they could rescind that and just
do it like the historic anthologies that they've been doing, where it's like, here's 25 cards for Pioneer, give gems, please.
Yeah, exactly. They could do the anthologies, and they could just bang out 4 anthologies, or they could do like they could do a jumpstart for it, where it's like, yeah, there's 100 cards, there's going to be 100 packs. Maybe that's just
jumpstart would be sweet.
Yeah, I mean, they'd sell it. What did they do with Alchemy? Alchemy, it's basically just like they were all rares, right? And so they could just say like, attached to this other historic product or something, attached to this other non-rotating product on Arena, you can get the Pioneer pack. Once you have the full set of the first one, you only get rares when you open those packs of the Pioneer cards.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Alchemy works, right? If you have a full set of Crimson Vow, then you always open Alchemy cards?
The other way.
Okay, all right.
If you open a pack of Crimson Vow, you're only ever going to get Crimson Vow. But if you open a pack of Alchemy Innistrad, you're going to get Alchemy rares until you have all the Alchemy rares, and then you're going to get Innistrad rares.
But they have a way to just say like, oh, there's 50 cards we want to inject into a format. Pay for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And they're happy with that. So they could just do that for Pioneer as well.
Yeah. So anyway, just find that odd. Speaking of things that are odd, Nelson, what's this Arena thing you wanted to talk about?
Okay, really odd thing in Arena. Twitter user Andrew Jabs21 with like 6 A's, posts that they lost during the Arena qualifier because their opponent was flickering their cards, and this prevented Jabs from ever getting priority for their spell to resolve. So it's kind of like, if you remember, we've talked before, I think on this podcast about, Hearthstone. There was Nosdormu for a while where your opponent only had 15 seconds to react. And then there was another thing for a while where you could stack up a whole bunch of animations right as you ended your turn. And then on their turn, they never got to do anything because it was just animations. They just had to wait out their entire rope watching your cards do their little, dances and explosions or whatever. And this is somewhat similar. It appears to be like an extremely, if I understand it correctly, it's like an extremely like micromanagement heavy, like this person has like the StarCraft background or Minesweeper or whatever. They have to like click on each individual one of your opponent's lands really quickly. Maybe that's what it is, or all of their permanents in a certain order or at a certain speed, and it'll prevent your opponent from getting priority. So I looked on the, bug report page on feedback on Wizards, and it goes back to, there's comments here back to last October, 2021, and there's been no word yet from the Arena team that I can find, but there have been several upvotes. So I don't know. As far as I can tell, this is a like very difficult to produce cheat. But the most kind of damning and problematic thing, or like the biggest problem about all this, the reason I wanted to share it, is just that Jabs emails support and they get back to him with, we can't give you a win for getting into this situation, even though like, you have a video recording of like, you would have won the game if your spell resolves. They removed a loss during this qualifier. So Jabs had another chance to play, but maybe they won, maybe they didn't. So they gave him something, but Jabs didn't get a response they were happy with. The biggest problem is just that the support agent comes back with, we don't consider this an exploit because this is how the game functions for all players. Meaning like anyone could theoretically learn how to destroy Arena, which isn't the attitude we want from the people in charge of Arena. We want them to make this not possible, so Arena is like Magic, not like Hearthstone right before a patch. Like this does happen in Hearthstone, and when it happens in Hearthstone, the devs come out and say like, sorry, there's a few things we're going to do. For one, we're going to make the cards that create this cost another mana for the next week or something, and then we're going to, or right away we're just going to shorten all the animation times, or we're going to remove the amount of RAM that your computer takes to do it or something. They have ways to fix it. Yeah, they don't just say anyone could do this, so it's your fault.
The problem is anyone can do this.
Yeah.
That's the entire problem.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's not an exploit. It is an exploit.
Yes.
If you're using the client, you're using the like computer to cheat at Magic, right?
Yeah, the solution is not to say, well, we've investigated and found that because this is democratic, it's not actually a problem.
Yeah.
Like what?
So that was that was just wild. I couldn't believe that a support agent wrote that back to a player. And yeah, I am
thread-
confused, just like the previous thing
Yeah,
we were
can you
talking about.
imagine
I am
getting-
confused.
Getting that email back and reading it and saying like, "We have investigated and discovered that you got owned, lol. Get good."
I mean, yeah, this is not considered an exploit, as it is how the game functions for all players. Make sure to manage in-game time carefully to avoid a match timer loss, and best of luck in your remaining games.
Like I want to
recoiling in anger.
Like I want to give the GoFundMe to pay for Jabs' new monitor, right? Like, or keyboard, right? I'm just ready to flip my entire standing desk.
There's a response in this Twitter thread that you're talking about from someone else having the exact same thing happen against the same opponent. This is a player that just does this when it looks like they're going to lose.
Yeah, it might all just be from exactly one player. Maybe they need a certain hardware setup. I don't know. But what we can tell is that like the response from support is abysmal.
Yeah.
I still don't even understand how actually to do this, which is fine.
No, that's not provided in this Twitter thread.
Yeah. But that's... Wow.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. That's just a thing that happened. I read the tweet 2 weeks ago, but we had the PPR and everything. We were busy with that. And I just wanted to bring it up because it's just a really interesting and bizarre piece of arena news. And like we said, a very like sort of uncomfortable, kind of pathetic reaction from the support agent.
Yeah. Weird. Anyway.
And yeah, there's been no news about that. So if you suddenly can't take your turn, hey, maybe you're playing against this.
If you can't take your turn and all of your lands are lighting up like Christmas twinkle lights, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Just record a video and post it to Twitter.
It's probably not going to happen for you, but
yeah, statistically unlikely. I've never encountered that, but that's wild. What I have encountered is playing a little bit of Kamigawa on Arena, just a little bit. I did 2 sealeds, and they were very, very quick because sealed goes fast when you go 1-3 and then 0-3.
Sorry, Graham.
Yeah, it was annoying. Especially the second one, I was like, oh, this deck seems awesome, and then it was just like, there's a lot of removal in this format, and being on the play, I think, is pretty important, and I just kind of got rolled over. I've done a draft, which I think went very well, but I haven't actually played any games with it. Yesterday on LRR MTG, Adam and James did a draft and had a bit of success, and that looked very fun. They were in, I think it was green-blue modifications.
Ooh.
And so they had the this artifact creature, which I'm just going to remind myself the name of. It's a 2/1 for 4 Tawashi Guidebot. And when it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, which could be itself. And then for 4 and tap, draw a card. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each modified creature you control. So you put that on itself, and it's only 3. If you have a second Tawashi Guidebot, as they did, then it's only 2. They got to a point where it was like 1 mana, tap, draw a card. So it would be like, end of your turn, tap, draw a card, tap, draw a card. Great. Like this could be free, right? This could
it goes
just
down
be
to
tap.
0.
Yeah, exactly. So that was exciting. And the one of the cards I absolutely got ruined by in those seals I mentioned was a fairly innocuous looking common of Jukai Preserver. 3 and a green for a 3/3 enchantment creature, human druid. When Jukai Preserver enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So like worst case scenario on its own, it's a 4 mana 4/4, which is pretty great. Also an enchantment creature for added synergy value. Has channel for 2 and a green. So discard Jukai Preserver, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures you control. That is a wild combat trick.
Which would normally be pretty good, but in this set, remember, now you have 2 more modified creatures, so it's like extra bananas.
Yep, you got 2 modified creatures. You've got 2 creatures getting counters in combat. The counters stay. You're winning combat, presumably. Yeah, very strong.
Yeah. This reminds me a bit of there's also a green ninja that adds a counter when it comes into play.
I think all the green ninjas are really good. There's not
Yeah.
that many
Coiling
of them.
Stalker, yeah.
Yeah. I opened it in my sealed pool, and it didn't quite feel right for my deck, but in the modified deck, ooh,
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah, very, very cool.
I've played only one sealed so far. I lost one of my matches to, and I wanted to say I totally sympathize with going 0-3-1-3 in sealed. I tend to be like really bad at arena release sealed. Draft, I'll usually start kind of holding my own, but
I'm generally like
I'm terrible at sealed.
okay.
Still, after 30 years.
I just like sealed, but I'm generally like okay. But this was this was like I don't even know. So anyone who's ever worried about us getting an unfair advantage by having the PPR, worry not.
Don't worry. Yeah, you've got the advantage back in your core because your brains all still work.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope. Yeah. Or, various other reasons that you have advantages. But I lost to the rare green ninja, along with...
Oh, Springleaf Avenger?
Yeah, Springleaf Avenger. Just, the trigger didn't matter because I died in combat that turn, but it was just like being able to pay 4 to pump your creature for 5 mana. Right. And I still thought I was going to go to 2, but there was this creature I didn't understand was an onboard trick. It's a blue uncommon. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name. It's not a ninja, but it's like a 3/4 that says when it's tapped, it turns into a 1/1 unblockable, but you can pay to untap it.
It actually is a ninja, but...
Oh, it is a ninja. Okay.
But
it doesn't have ninjutsu. It fuels ninjutsu, right? It's like a ninja. It's a ninjutsu enabler.
Yeah.
Because
Cameron
it's
had
unblockable.
We talked about
Cameron
that
had this
a lot. I played it in my sealed pool, and
Right. Sorry, I was in the other pod.
Yeah, he's the social engineering guy, right? Who just shows up in the building with like a tray of coffees and is like, "Can someone get the door for me, please?" And everyone's like, "Oh, sorry."
So did you ever activate after blockers?
No, I don't think I did actually.
So I died to that because if you untap it after blockers, it's still attacking, but now it's a 3/4 again. So you were aware of that,
right? The name of the card.
Thank you, Futurist Operative.
Yeah, 3 and a blue for a 3/4 human ninja, and then it's this weird thing. As long as it is tapped, it's a human citizen with base power and toughness 1/1 and can't be blocked.
Yeah, it's got the cloak of invisibility, right?
Yeah, but then you can pay 2 and a blue to untap it. So
just take the code off whenever you want.
Yeah, it's like, oh, before we move to damage, haha, it's me.
Smack. So I took something like 8 extra. Right, plus 5, yeah, 7 extra damage at the beyond what I could block. I couldn't block this, and I didn't have enough blockers for like one other attacker. Oof. So then the green ninja turns that 1/1 into a 6/5, and then this turns itself into a 3/4, and I died in combat. That same game, though, actually, speaking about bugs, this one I imagine will get fixed soon. But on mobile, if you reconfigure creatures off, like say you have your extraction octopus and you pay 2 to just turn it back into a creature and stop being equipment. If it's like attached to a tapped creature, nothing happens visually, and Arena doesn't give you a log of like what reconfigure did. Like reconfigure is multiple ability. It's a modal ability, right? You can use reconfigure to just be like the same way you used equip before, like attached to this creature. And that's what it looked like. So although that's kind of a punt in game, like just spending extra mana to equip is something that you only normally do in Judge Tower. God, I miss hanging out and playing Judge Tower. I'm sorry. I'm just going to take a minute and cry. Okay, I'm back. So it just looked like the thing was still attached. So I thought my opponent just misclicked, and then I attacked and they blocked with their tapped octopus that's like on top of another creature. Like they blocked with their sword.
Oh, so it was a visual bug that they had unattached it.
Oh.
But it looked but the equipment creature that was technically untapped looked tapped.
Yeah, like I see this, right? I see like equipment on top of creature, and then I attack into it, and then like this gets highlighted, blocks, and then like untaps and turns into a creature during blockers.
That's weird. Yeah, I haven't seen that on.
It's a known bug. I found out.
That is
I haven't seen that on the PC one yet.
So I got my gems back, which is fun.
Oh, nice.
My other fun story I have 2 more. I'll tell you about my other loss. This is like the best curve I've seen so far. I think this beats any PPR curves. I took a screenshot. My opponent starts with Selfless Samurai on turn 2.
Okay.
Ben Wheeler did that a bunch of times. Great start, though. Turn 3, I try to block. They have the combat trick Pig. So they kill my blocker and they gain some life. It's one of the reconfigured... Or no, it's not. Is it a reconfigured creature or just an artifact creature with channel?
Sorry, the combat trick Pig.
Yeah, 6 mana, 5/4 haste, but you can channel it for 1 and a red. And it's definitely a boar.
Oh, here we
think
go.
it's what
Iron
it's called.
Hoof Boar. Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. 5/4.
Yes,
Yeah,
not
5/4
reconfigure.
trample haste for 6 mana for 1 and a
Mhm.
red. Creature gets +3/+1 and trample. Oh, it's brute strength or whatever
Yes.
it is.
Yeah, exactly. +3/+1
Okay.
and trample. So I play a 2/2 to try to trade with the bear, or a 1/3, I think, and they trample over it. Right. I really like this. There's a new like a Myrrh, basically. It's a 2 colorless for a 1/3 that taps for a colorless. And that colorless mana I think can only be used for artifacts. But my deck goes into that. But I still really like that we've got a mana dork that's a 1/3 that's not just in green. Anyways, but that died to the pig. And then turn 3, they play Ryu, Storm's Edge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
and their other creature is a samurai. So that's a lot of hurt for me that turn. And then turn 4, they do their double attack again. Or sorry, this is turn 3, they played the combat trick. Turn 4, they play Ryu. Turn 5, they're doing all the combat. I've played some chumps to try to block, and then they flash in the Wanderer mid-combat. And they didn't even go for lethal. They just kept their blocked creature alive. And I was like, sweet, I'm going to be fine. No, they just had a burn spell the next turn. They just had like 2 in the face. But yeah, that's the coolest curve I've seen. It's like the Boros Samurais, feet Ryu, and Wanderer.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
The only game I won, I managed to beat Ryu because they put Twisted Embrace on it. Twisted Embrace is an amazing card, by the way. 2 black for an enchantment. Enchant, I think it's creature or artifact. And as long as the enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets +1/+1. So you can do it to a vehicle, and then when the vehicle animates, it gets +1/+1. And when it enters the battlefield, destroy a target creature, planeswalker, and opponent controls. So like it counts as controlling an enchantment. Now you have a modified creature. You get to kill something. Your creature is bigger. Like this card just does it all. So they put the Twisted Embrace on Ryu and killed one of my blockers and attacked. And I luckily had Lethal Exploit, which is the -2/-2 with an additional -1/-1 for each modified creature you control. I didn't have any modified creatures because they killed it, but it did make Ryu a 2/2. So they still got their extra combat step, but Ryu was dead.
Nice.
But that's about it. I want to talk about a card that I missed completely because I didn't see it during the PPR, but that Adam and James were using on LRMTG yesterday. Story Weave. So 2 and a green for an instant. Choose one. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Awesome. 3 mana combat trick, but it's counters, so they stay around. The thing, it's modifications. Great.
That's about as good as that Tajiri Preserver on the first.
Yeah,
turn,
honestly,
right?
that's a pretty fine combat trick. Yeah. Or put 2 lore counters on target saga you control. The next time 1 or more enchantment creatures enter the battlefield under your control this turn, each enters with 2 additional +1/+1 counters on it.
Let's remember this is an instant that puts lore counters on a saga.
So if you have a saga in play on chapter 1, then on your opponent's turn, say when they attack, you put 2 more counters on it. You get the chapter 2 ability, then the chapter 3 ability happens, it gets exiled, it enters play, and it's 2 bigger with counters. That's ridiculous.
And then you block their walking skyscraper with your 12/12 Michiko.
Or you could do this on your turn, right? You just be like, all right, I'm just going to advance this saga, get the value for chapter 2, get my chapter 3, get my creature into play. Also, I'm just going to play this random enchantment creature. It also comes in larger. It says the next time 1 or more enchantment. Oh, no.
Just one.
Sorry. It's not as cool as I thought. You only get 1 instance of that.
Yeah.
But if you have any way to create multiple enchantment creatures.
Is there something from Theros that does that? Like, is there a thing that puts out token enchantment creatures?
Yes. There's a something intervention.
Minotaurs?
It makes 2 centaurs.
2 3/3s, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
So you story weave for no value, and then you play that, and then you get 2 5/5s. Perfect. Okay, that's still not as busted as I thought, but it is very, very strong. If you have a saga, you get an enormous enchantment creature at a surprise. Like, sagas aren't supposed to go off at instant speed. That makes it very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be a fun card for Commander, I think.
It's going to be a fun card to lose to.
Yeah, it's also it's a pretty wild combat trick.
Yeah.
My first deck, so my only sealed I've done so far. I have opened up a second sealed pool, but I haven't got to build it to play the games yet. Life is busy. I want to play more Kamigawa. Do we have to record this podcast? So
well, we're here now.
Yeah, I mean, might as well.
Might as well. Yeah. So I opened up Mech Titan Core and my first search for artifact creature or vehicle. I just searched artifact and then I clicked everything that had a power toughness, and that was already 43 cards. I had 26 cards I could play across all the colors that were artifact creatures or vehicles. So I'm like, okay, this is happening. And then I whittled it down to blue white. I had 2 of the uncommon 3/4 that makes a pilot, so that was really
that
good.
card was. I had a blue white vehicles deck in one of the sealeds that it deserved so much better. That deck was awesome. But it was doing stuff and making pilots and crewing a vehicle that let you randomly crew another vehicle for free. And it was super cool.
Yeah, the Cars deck is pretty fun. So in my first game of this format, my first game of sealed, my opponent gets Goro kind of quickly, but I draw the Mech Titan Core. Most of my deck is artifact creatures and vehicles. So he manages to attack and make a dragon once before I can activate, but then I attack. I make the token. I have a 10/10. I like the way it's templated. You don't ever get the Mech Titan Core back, but your vehicles are safe. There's no respond, instant speed, blow something up to 5 for 1 U. It's a bunch of mana, and you do take your permanents and turn them into a different permanent. This doesn't have protection, so I think the worst thing that can happen to it is the arrest. Yeah. Or the Phyrexian completion thing. If they tap it down, or if they keep it from attacking, that's such bad news for you. But if they kill it, at least you get all your stuff back.
The Mech Titan Core, by the way, is a 2 mana vehicle. It's a 2/4 crew for 2. Not tremendously exciting on its own, but 5 mana, exile it. As you say, that just gets exiled. The core goes away forever. But then you also exile 4 other artifact creatures and or vehicles you control to create Mech Titan, a legendary 10/10 construct artifact creature token with flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink, and haste that is all colors.
Really nice.
Yeah.
So you get to you just slam with that immediately. When that leaves the battlefield, return all cards exiled with Mech Titan Core except Mech Titan Core to the battlefield under their owner's control. So all the bits fall off if they deal with it, except for the ways that you highlighted just now.
Yeah. If you're going to play this card, cards that sacrifice a creature maybe get a little better, but just being able to put this in play and attack once is pretty good. If your opponent has 3 copies of Tamiyo's Completion, maybe stop trying.
Yeah, I feel like a 10/10 flying vigilance, trample, lifelink, haste is pretty good.
But it was still a good game. My opponent managed to not block the first time and then attack with something that was going to die to the Mech Titan just so they could spend 7 mana or 5 mana and make a second dragon token. And then the next turn they would have been able to trade if I didn't have a path system.
Yeah. So, Cam, what's up?
I just wanted to say that I love the way that they imply scale in this art.
Victor Adam Menga is knocking it out of the park yet again.
Yeah, with the and it's not the scale birds. It's not the building in the foreground.
That's right.
It is the Raleigh scattering. The fact that you see the sky in front of this, right? It's mood shifted because there's so much atmosphere between you and it.
I didn't know that's what that was called.
Yeah, Raleigh scattering. It's why the sky is blue. But there's enough atmosphere between you and this thing that it is sky tinted.
That's so good.
So there you go, dads and moms. Next time your kid asks, why is the sky blue? You can tell them because Victor Adame Menga is incredible.
Yes.
I saw that he had put up the art for the Mech Titan Core for auction. And because we'd seen some of the set at that point, and I immediately messaged him because he was at a PPR. And I was like, did you also do the art for the Mech Titan token? He's like, I did. I was like, is that going up for auction? It is. And I was like, tell me when that goes up for auction. It immediately went out of my price range. I think it went for 5 figures, which is fair because there's a huge original painting. Yeah. I think he also sold the maquette because he likes to get the lighting correct. He likes to make physical 3-dimensional maquettes to use as reference. Yeah. So there's cool. Yeah. So there's a there's a Mech Titan action figure kinda.
That's unspeakably sweet.
Yeah. It's very, very cool. So good for him. Bummed I don't own it, but then I can't validate that much money.
Yeah, if you can't get the Mech Titan on your wall, the original, like, you know, most of the 9 billion of us or whatever can't, except for that one person who won the auction. Congrats, by the way. Well done. Or the other auction for the core. That's cool too. I recommend just getting the Mech Titan into play. Like, this token is fun. Having a bunch of cards around anyway is fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then occasionally, if you play enough games with the Mech Titan core, you're going to swing for 10 eventually.
Have you had opportunity to jam anything on Arena yet, Cameron?
It's
only been out for
assembling a sealed
less than a
pool
day.
as we speak.
Awesome. Excellent. Good.
I said, do we have to record this podcast? Cameron said, porque no los dos.
Yes.
Yeah, well, because, again, the set has been out on Arena at time of recording for less than 24 hours.
Yeah, I'm doing a bad.
No, you're fine.
I'm being greedy. No, I meant like in the sealed pool. I don't.
Oh, I see. Oh, nice. Paul's got a shot of the pieces of the Mech Titan maquette.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
There are, that's a Tyrannid at the bottom left.
Right?
I love it. It's all made out of plasticine and
Yeah.
clay and things. Very cool.
Yes, that is rad.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Since last we spoke, they've also revealed all of the contents of the 2 commander decks.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's a red-green samurai deck. Well, at least the commander is Chishiro the Shattered Blade, a snake samurai, who is 2 red-green for a 4/4. And whenever an aura or equipment enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 red spirit token with menace. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each modified creature you control. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other deck is vehicles. It's a Kotori Pilot Prodigy, 1 white blue for a 2/4 Moonfolk Pilot. Vehicles you control have crew 2. So that makes some worse, but that's going to make a lot of them better.
Yeah, I don't think you include this in anything with a crew 1
Well,
vehicle.
Well,
I don't think this ability granting overwrites, right? Like, usually,
You're right.
Yeah, if you give a creature first strike after it already has double strike, it still just has first strike as well. This doesn't change anything. But
Right.
then if
It
there's
just gets
another
that
creature
also.
that's like, hey, creatures with first strike also have lifelink, then it'll have lifelink.
It's like a creature getting exalted and exalted. Then it has
Yeah.
double exalted, but
So if
which
you're-
actually does something.
If your card has crew 1, it'll still have crew 1.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to read the FAQ on this card before you go out and do that play, but I'm pretty confident.
Yeah. Kotori continues, at the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact creature you control gains lifelink and vigilance until end of turn. And there's a bunch of cool stuff. That deck, by the way, has it's got the Rafflecopter in it. Where is it? Yep, it's got Smuggler's Copter. It's got
And
Smuggler's
a bunch of other
Copter.
bangers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Smuggler's Copter, Weatherlight, Sky Sovereign, Peace Walker Colossus, Raider's Carve, Cultivator's Caravan, and the Colossal Plow. As well as a bunch of new ones, but I love that it's got. Oh, and does Parhelion 2? Don't ask about Parhelion 1, and some new ones. I want to talk about one of the new cards from that deck. That's not actually a vehicle. Drum Bellower. This sounds like Commander shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
2 and a white for a 2/1 Flying Spirit. Cool. Untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step.
Oh boy,
Oh.
I thought they stopped making those. It doesn't say lands. It doesn't say lands.
No, just creatures, but like get yourself
yeah.
a tap utility creature and then you just like do.
2022 appears to be the year that planes tap for green mana. Right?
Mhm.
Like white hasn't had enough of an identity for a long time. Fine, let's just take greens. Everybody likes greens color identity.
But
Let's give it to
Doesn't
white.
doesn't one of the Niv's Mizzet have a tap ability?
Yes.
Yes.
The first one.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes. But I mean, this isn't a crazy exploit if you're just getting a bonus one, but like it's still good.
Yeah.
This is just like a really solid card for commander play,
Mhm.
right? You mean getting to attack with your token army or whatever kind of for free. Even just effects that give all your creatures vigilance is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, any tap effects you have, convoke spells, the list goes on. This is a powerful and often banned effect in Commander. There's a reason that Prophet of Crucifix isn't allowed anymore, right?
Speaking of convoke, don't forget about improvise, because this deck also has a card called Organic Extinction, which is 8 white with improvise, meaning you can tap artifacts to pay for the generic mana. Destroy all non-artifact creatures.
But I'm organic.
I know. It's not for long.
Oh dear me.
Yeah.
Wait, the organic part or the I am?
Yeah. Also, I think you'll appreciate this, Cam.
Mm-hmm.
They've finally made a counterspell that's just called Access Denied.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 blue for an instant counter target spell.
Oh, hey.
Create X/1/1 Thopters with flying, where X is that spell's mana value.
This seems like it would be good in lander control.
Maybe, yeah. It's 5 mana, but it's also a win con.
But Jaws sees Highlander play, right?
Oh, the 5 mana 4/5 counter shark. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and this is an instant, so instead of being a creature, if you're
not getting into a counterspell battle with someone, right?
Yeah, no, I don't hate this card, and I'm sure that all of the various Brea Commander players, especially the ones that we're friends with, will be really enjoying this. Expect this to get sleeved up in various places. And
Also,
sure, it won't be the last we've seen of Access Denied.
Master Chief Shield.
Oh, yeah.
That's
kind of like
the shield made of hexagons, the dome shield made of hexagons.
Cool.
It is colloquially known as the Master Chief Shield.
Nice.
If it's a wall, then that's an AT field, but the dome is
totally different. Yeah.
Can we talk about Blastoise? Or go ahead. What did you want?
Let's talk about Blastoise, the Kappa Cannoneer.
So this is... Oh, you go ahead.
Yeah, 5 and a blue for a turtle warrior with improvise. It's got ward 4, and whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked this turn.
So quite a few things going on there. Someone asked on Twitter whether it sees itself because it is an artifact creature. So like when an artifact, it says. Typically, the way they template that is whenever card name or another artifact. But I'm actually confused rules-wise whether or not this sees itself, because like whenever card name or another artifact does seem redundant, right? Yeah. But I know that the Searing Blaze artifact from the main set, Neon Dynasty, the red uncommon that you can sacrifice for 4 mana to deal damage equal to the number of charge counters. I'll just try to find that one real quick so we know the name of it. That one says whenever this or another, and obviously printed around the same time. So I'm curious whether it gets its own first counter, but also just even without that, Dragon Spark Reactor. So this one has like almost the exact same kind of trigger because it cares about artifacts entering the battlefield. But Dragon Spark Reactor says whenever Dragon Spark Reactor or another artifact enters the battlefield. So that's a question I have. And I tried to check on the pilot card too, the Kotori. And at time of recording, the gatherer for these cards isn't up yet, but it will be soon. And otherwise, though, I think this Turtle Warrior, as cute as it is, it's Blastoise. It's obviously kind of funny looking. It's got a huge like laser pack on its back. It looks a little tired maybe, but I think this card is pretty real. Like I could see this getting into various Eternal decks, like definitely Canadian Highlander. Improvise isn't quite as good as Delve, but it's not terrible either. I don't know. Maybe there's a legacy deck for this card. You can't play these in Modern, right? I don't think so. Usually Commander cards aren't in Modern. It's confusing because
I think it does see itself, because I think it would just say another.
Right.
If it didn't see itself.
Well,
I think.
I will wait and read. I'm sure it'll be included in the Oracle, first questions or whatever. Or we'll find out soon enough if someone casts it on MTGO or another judge who understands the way this templating is worded better than I do, chimes in. So maybe even in the YouTube comments, scroll down and we can answer that question right now. But regardless, I think this is a very good card.
I want to talk about a card from the other deck now, a red Wrath, in the way that only red can do it. Collision of Realms, 6 and a red sorcery. Each player shuffles all their creatures into their library. Each player who shuffled
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, each player who shuffled a non-token creature into their library this way reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature, and puts that onto the battlefield, and the rest onto the bottom of their library in a random order.
Well, so it's Warp Roll, but just for creatures.
Yeah, but you only get one.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
you only get one. So it's like Chaos Warp, but all your creatures become one creature.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this
If you had no creatures or you only had tokens, you don't get anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Sorry. There's no line in here that says for each non-token creature.
Nope.
That's a funny thing about reading Magic cards. Like, not only do we miss things, but we also just, our brains put things in that we're expecting. Like, we
A lot of
add
shortcuts,
lines.
yeah.
Yeah, we remove and add lines when we're reading cards accidentally. Anyways, so everybody loses all of their creatures, and as long as you had at least one non-token creature, you get the top creature card from your library after you finish shuffling.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I love how it's just like, you know, I bet from the very beginning of the design of this card, they were like, oh, this is going to be a 7 mana red sorcery. You know, it's like, how much mana it should be? It should be 7. It's not going to be 6. Don't worry. It might be 8 if we make it a little too good. If we make it uncounterable, it can be 8. But 6 and a red, this is the base type land for, we're going to do something goofy. You know? I like that a lot.
Also, there's another Tanuki, which I'm excited about. There's only one in the main set, but there's Tanuki Transplanter, which is 3 and a green for a 2/4 artifact creature equipment dog, because it has reconfigure for 3.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it or the equipped creature attacks, add an amount of green mana equal to its power. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. That could be quite a bit of power.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if there's many of the attack multiple times decks that play green already, but gets in there.
Yeah, Ben put that whole deck together, and there's another card in this deck, the Aki Battle Squad, that would go into that brew that he put together for the PPR. It's 5 and a red for a 6/6 Goblin Samurai. Whenever one or more modified creatures you control attack, untap all modified creatures you control after this combat phase. There's an additional combat phase. This only happens once per turn.
Well, that card kind of slaps.
Yeah. So he was like, no, but why? Why didn't I know about this ahead of time?
Okay, we're running a little low on time, so I want to make sure that we talk about new all-format all-star Swift reconfiguration. This is a 1 white mana enchantment aura with flash and enchant creature or vehicle.
All right.
Enchanted permanent is a vehicle artifact with crew 5 and loses all other card types. So, you know, as you're beginning to read the card going down, we're used to like white spells that buff our cars or buff our creatures, but no, this is like a new Swords to Plowshares just dropped. So there's some combo enablers here where if you turn your own creature into not being a creature anymore, then it doesn't care if it has -1/-1 counters put on it. So it can be used proactively on your own stuff to set up loops. But it's also just like, yeah, now their Birds of Paradise or their Delver of Secrets, their Goblin Guide is no longer those things. It could be again if they tap 5 power worth of other creatures. So
Neat.
pretty cool new design space for Swords to Plowshares, honestly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So like this is like the kind of direction that I think a lot of people who play white are very happy to see, kind of white getting its own things it's already good at, but in a new, different way.
Yeah.
You two are just looking at this card for the first time. Hey, it's going to kill
Yeah.
it's going to get slapped onto your commander a bunch of times in the
It
coming
sure
years.
is.
Yeah.
It sure is. Oh, that's going to be so annoying.
Sorry.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
The only other
You need to
card
find
I really
5 people in order to play your commander again. They need to have an intervention.
Excuse me.
The only other card I wanted to talk about is one of the ones that's not from the decks, but you can find it in set boosters
Or collector boosters.
or collector boosters.
Thank you. We haven't talked about that before, but I was like trying to answer my friend's questions on Twitter because are you about to talk about the Shrine card?
Yes.
Yeah. So And do you know how many cards are in this list? So there's
Yes.
there's two, yeah. Can we just talk about that? There's
So
2 decks, right?
yeah, there's the 2 decks. One is red-green and one is white-blue. And they have a bunch of brand new cards and a whole ton of reprints. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8
8
cards that are also doing this thing again that I frankly still don't like.
I hate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about this once before with Strixhaven or something.
Yeah. Did
they do it in every set last year?
They've done it ever since they did it.
Okay. But yeah,
So,
this is annoying and dumb, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
No, it's fine. So there's a cycle of Myojin, which are legendary spirits. There's a very good boy with Yoshimaru,
Oh my God,
the ever
the boy
faithful
is
dog.
going to be so expensive.
Yeah, he's like Hachiko. It's sitting waiting for the emperor to come home. There's a creature called Ruthless Technomancer, and then finally there is the Go Shintai of Life's Origin, which is 3 and a green for a 3/4 legendary enchantment creature shrine with a Wooburg activated ability. So the color identity for commander purposes is 5 color. So you can have your 5 color shrine commander deck.
It's even a shrine.
For Wooburg, return target enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. And whenever Go Shintai of Life's Origin or another non-token shrine enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment creature token.
With no creature type. Remember, shrine is an enchantment type.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes shrines. It comes down. It's 2 shrines that count for all your other shrines, counting shrines in upkeep and end step. This card's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, did we say to hand? We said to hand, maybe?
Oh, I did. Returns target enchantment from graveyard to the battlefield. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
See, that's what Nelson was talking about with your brain just sort of shortcutting things. It's like, hey, it'd be too good if it went right into play. Surely it just goes to your hand. Nope.
Nope. Does that too.
Yep.
Yeah, so 5-color Shrine Commander. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Commander set, like, if you're going to put the set symbol of Commander on it, can you just put all those cards into the Commander set, please? Or if you want, print Commander packs. I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us a third kind of pack that these are in, and they also have random old stuff like Chaos Warp and alternate Soul Rings in them.
Yeah, because this is going to be, you're going to want this, right? If you want this, you want it.
Yeah.
There's nothing like this.
Or like put these 8 cards in a file, release Commander Legends once a year, and like it has a certain feel of a certain plane, but there's an explanation why, you know, the other 4 planes that we've seen from the last year, there's a planeswalker from each one. People are chasing them or something. I don't know. Like they had to go to a different plane. It exists on.
Yeah.
Just this is messy, right? Like these 8 cards in the set boosters and the collector boosters. This is some annoying bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care for this.
Do something else. The cards are great. Sell them some other way.
Yeah. It's just annoying to find.
Yeah. And
Anyway.
8? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, there's 8 of them. There's a
I'd be like less mad if it was 5 or 10 or
Myojin and then 3 others. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Probably your best bet is to just buy them
Yeah.
at cardkingdom.com/LRR. Good for Card Kingdom, I suppose. Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. They're a great bunch of folks, and that's probably your best way to find the individual singles you're looking for. Also, the show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That's going to do it for Tap Tap Concede this week. I've been Graham, joined by Cameron.
Huh?
And Nelson.
Don't forget to ask for the button. It says, "Hi roller, I'm dad," right?
High roll, I'm dad. Yeah. Paul has been here running tech. Heather gets these online. And thank you all for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.